Yo, what's the word, YouTube? I go by the name of Shy the Rula, but you can call me Shy. This is a heavily requested video right here. I've been getting a lot of questions about how to play offense, defense, how to go for mix-ups with Lee Chow Long. So I wanted to give you guys some insight and some tips with how I approach the character to help you level up your gameplay. Not only that, I wanted to go over a practice mode method to help you lab Lee Chow Long, but also lab matchups that you may be struggling with so you can adapt to any situation. Now, before we get into the video, I want to thank everybody that's been subscribing to the channel and showing love. We had 143 subscribers at this moment. If you are new here, leave a like, drop a comment. Sub to the channel, my guy. We got more content coming. So let's get right into the video. All right, to start off, Lee's a counter-hit assassin that loves to sneak in fast, compact moves to interrupt their opponent's offensive style. He's a master of timing with his hard-hitting pokes. He can adapt to many situations and get out of bad scenarios with his evasiveness. And he's also versatile when it comes to putting your foot on the gas and slowing down the pace of a match. Wanted to give you guys a quick overview on what I believe his strengths and weaknesses are. To start with his strengths, he has big counter hit rewards, amazing wall carry, strong punishment, excellent mix-ups, and high damage potential. To go over his weaknesses, he has reliance on landing counter hits, tough against turtling opponents, not the strongest pressure, high execution ceiling, and a risky heat smash. I want to go over these points one by one to kind of give you guys an idea of, more visual on what I'm talking about. So to start, I want to go over his big counter hit rewards. He has numerous moves that grant him launchers. His whole game plan pretty much revolves around interrupting the opponent's timing, harassing the opponent with pokes until they like to make a mistake, you whiff punish them, or if you get a counter hit, such as like down 3, 1+2, back 4 for keep out, and magic 4. He has a lot more, but I just wanted to cover something brief while we talk about his strengths. But big counter hit rewards, great way to interrupt their opponent, make them scared to press a button, or even make them scared to approach. Next, I want to cover Lee's amazing wall carry. Lee has pretty much been known almost every iteration of Tekken for having the best wall carry in the game. He has one of the best, if not the best, in this one as well. He has numerous counter hit launches that can bring one person to the side of the stage to the next. Give you a quick example. 100 damage from one side to the next. If it's not Yakushima, if it's not Coliseum, more than likely you're going to get the opponent to the next side of the stage. If not, you're going to hit the sidewall, and then you can, get a little mixy with how you convert off the sidewall as well. All right, so next I want to talk about Lee's strong punishment. Lee has 2 10-frame punishes. That's probably the best 10-frame punishes in the game. We got Acid Rain and While Standing 3-3. You want to master Acid Rain because you're going to be leaving a lot of damage on the table if you're only going for 1-2-4. 1-2-4 is a good punisher if you want to go for pressure, but you're leaving damage on the table, especially if you want to go for Oki, if you want to continue, pressure in a different way. You get free follow-ups, and it's the max damage punish for 10 frames. And if you're nasty with it, you can get a Blazing Kick follow-up. Next, we got 11 frames. 4-4-4. You could just frame the last hit. You pretty much get a heat engager for 11 frames, which is insane. I can't believe they even gave this to Lee, but it's really good, really good. You get a heat engager at 11 frames. It wall splats, you get pressure, you're in heat, you just keep going at your opponent, don't give them any time to breathe, right? Next, you got 13 frames for 1+2, down forward 4-4. Same thing with the Magic 4. You get a heat engager, wall splats, pressure. Forward 1+2 also wall splats if you don't want to go and opt for the heat engager, but really good at the wall. Really good punisher. You get Oki on forward 1+2. You get heat engager and pressure with down forward 4-4. It's a good way to check people at the start of rounds if they want to mash. Just be careful because they could duck the second hit. Next, we got 14 frames, forward 2-1. And they gave us a buff by giving us back 1+2 just frame, and then back 1-1-2 just frame. Both really good. The only way you'll get back 1+2 the just frame is if you actually just frame the second input. You won't get the second input if you don't do it. And forward 2-1 is really good especially if you're trying to carry people to the wall or go for that mix-up, right? You can hit confirm forward 2-1 pretty well, so you can keep your opponent guessing and keep the mid strong. Next, we got 15. Acid Storm. Get a crazy combo. You get hop kick. And you get down forward 2. All right, next I want to talk about his while standing punishment. So like I said earlier, he got a while standing 3-3 that's 10 frames. This is a good move for when moves put you in crouch and your opponent is not frame checking you or frame trapping you at all. It's good to challenge with this move. I like to interrupt people's offense if they're trying to pressure me with fake pressure with this move, right? While standing 3-3 could go into infinite kicks. You can ship your opponent out and end the round with this move. You just got to be careful because if they do block it or low parry or make a read and duck, you'll probably die for it. So just be careful. You can go into Hitman. But that's 10 frame, right? Then we got 11 frame while standing 4. You could do while standing 4 in the Hitman to make sure that you know, your opponent is respecting your frames. They try to throw something stubby out, they're getting hit with either Hitman 2 or Power Crush or whatever you want to do, right? So pretty much that's your 10 to 12 frame punish when it comes to any while standing, right? Next we got while standing 1-2 for 13 frame, while standing 1-4 for 13 frame. While standing 1-2, you can go in a misstep. People gotta respect that on block. They have to. You press anything that's quick, 16 frames and faster, they're getting blown up by it, right? Then 1-4, you can go into Hitman. It's I don't know. To me, this isn't really as good. I just like to do 1-4 to punish. But more than likely, I'm gonna go for, you know, while standing 1-2, go for pressure and just keep it going, right? Just really your decision. Then we got 14 frames, my favorite punishers. Your while standing 2-3, heat burst, get a full combo. Let me show you. Full combo. And you got while standing 2-4, which is the mix up with while standing 2-3 and while standing 2-4. The only difference is you got to be careful with while standing 2-4 because there's a high, right? So you want to mix this up. People try to duck for the high, they get hit by the mid. You just got to be careful letting it rip because you can get punished. While standing 2-3 is punishable. While standing 2-4 is safe. Using while standing 2-3 and mixing it up with 2-4 at the wall is very scary for the opponent. I wouldn't just let this rip at mid-screen. I've seen some lead players just kind of like just be mid-screen and try to let it rip to clip people, but I wouldn't really do that. I would either try to go for a punish or get your opponent ducking by like mixing up slide, mixing up down forward 4 out of full crouch. You know, get your opponent ducking so you could get this combo going, right? You could do some crazy shit, right? Now, we got 15 frames, hop kick, and if you block a stagger low, you get the flip kick. Get a quick combo, right? But that's pretty much it for while standing. Next, I want to talk about Lee Chaolong's excellent mix-ups. This man is a mix-up monster. When I tell you I put people in the blender with this character, it is not a joke, bro. You could get really mixy with his while standing, with his slide, with, you know, timing, down 3s, back 4s, 4-4-4. He has a lot of evasiveness, so you just have to be creative with how you implement all of these things. But I'm gonna just give you a quick example of what I mean at the wall. Right, we're already in crouch. You know, if we're on a different stage, you get a crazy combo. You know, if you watch my Twitter, you've seen I've done wall-to-wall combos, getting people to walls, you know, across the stage. His mix-up at the wall is insane. You can kill somebody in like 2 touches, especially if you know, do the right thing. I was telling people that, you know, this character does everything that he did in T7, but better. You know, everything that I love to do, which is mix my opponent. Another thing that you can do is just think about the layers that you want to go in with this character. I was having a conversation with somebody in the local tournament yesterday where, you know, you have to really think about how you want to layer things. Give people that layer 1 stuff where, you know, you down 3 in the power crush, and if they start to adapt to it, then you start to like mix up your options, right? You guys really mixy with stuff like that. Down 4-1 into, you know, 4-4-4 is just generic layer 1 stuff. But when you think about the mix-ups, you really want to like condition your opponent to duck with slide, with full crouch down forward 4. Once they start ducking for that, it opens up the while standing mix-ups, like while standing 2-3, while standing 2-4. You want to mix up the shit that you do out of Hitman as well. Like if you do back 4 or block on hit, whatever, you want to make sure that you're gathering that information from your opponent, because it's going to determine what you answer with next time you do the move, or however you want to check the opponent, you know? Hitman is like the basis of, like, you know, yeah, he has standing moves and stuff, but people get antsy when you start going into Hitman because they either want to try to punish you, or they want to try to hit you out of it, or they want to try to interrupt you. And that's where the big counter hits start to come into play with down 3, or, you know, magic 4 or back 4, you know, catching people with down forward 2, trying to come in now that it crushes highs, 4-4-4 if they're trying to jab out of stuff. You know, if they try to press a button, you could power crush them. You know what I mean? You could bait them with the down 4-4 like I was talking about earlier. Just got to get really creative with how you mix up his options and timing. He's a master at timing. So now that we're pretty much done with all the strengths, we just have one more left, which is his high damage potential. But everything that I went over in the video prior with punishment and just things that I broke down, it goes to show you, even with the wall-to-wall carry, that his high damage potential is insane, off the wall, heat burst, heat smash, you know, depending on where you at, heat dash. You squeeze a lot of damage out, especially when you're playing this character. If you mix up well, if you get really good, right? Now I want to address his weaknesses. I would say that his reliance on landing the counter hit and being tough against turtles ties into each other. Just because, you know, a lot of people feel like you got to rely on these counter hits to get the life lead, which in a way is true. Interrupting your opponent and getting those counter hits create, you know, combo opportunities for you. He doesn't really have any natural hitting launchers unless it's out of Hitman. He doesn't have, you know, Hitman 4 that knocks down anymore. So, you know, landing the counter hit gives you a lot of good opportunities to be in the lead, pressure, put your opponent in a situation to lose the round immediately. In my opinion, if you're really good at fundamentals, or if you sharpen your fundamentals, you sharpen your matchup knowledge, you're good with your punishment, you practice your timing, you can make this character come to life, whether you're a beginner all the way to pro level. Some people just think that all it takes is counter hits, but no. You can use a lot of different moves, back 3-3, down 3, depending on what, you know, how you switch up the timing, back 4, 4-4-4, you know, slide mix-ups, etc. Just like we went over in the excellent mix-ups. You can make this character come to life. But there's a certain type of player and execution that it takes to make this character come to life. Now to go on to not the strongest pressure. You know, his running 3-4 is kind of linear, especially like from range, like, you know, like 2.5, 2, like even right here. If you do running 3-4, like if you're good at doing instant running 3-4, if your opponent is sharp, they can just walk you. So you want to be like up close when you're doing this, because it'll definitely track to a certain degree if you're really up close. If you stack it, it'll be hard for them, but you just don't want to be predictable. When you're doing running 3-4, you want to mix up running 3-4 with, you know, running up and doing 1+2, running up doing down 3, depending on what side they're stepping in. Going into Hitman after 1+2 to check, but doing homing moves to try to stop people from checking and respecting the running 3-4 is the key, especially when you want to pressure. A lot of his pressure comes off of like the plus frames that you get from punishing, and just like front flip, forward 3+4, you know, landing things on hit. That's where it starts to come to life. I wouldn't say high execution ceiling is a weakness necessarily, but to newcomers and people that don't really understand, you know, the type of things that you have to do to make the combos work. Like, let's say, for example, you know, the while standing moves out of the combo, right? Out of misstep, right? Some people can't even do that. It takes, you know, a certain type, or a certain amount of time, I should say, to get that type of execution down, get the timing downs after, you know, let's say down 3 on counter hit. You know, some people can't even pick up. So the execution can definitely hinder people that don't practice it enough. So practice, practice, practice when it comes to doing his execution. You'll get rewarded for it in the long run, and that's the main reason why I even play the character. Last but not least, we got risky heat smash. Your opponent likes to make reads, and they end up blocking your low out of heat smash. You are -15, and you will get launched for it. From my knowledge and my experience, from a distance. People, if they're walking, they can walk it and punish you for doing it. So just be careful. In heat, other than, you know, his heat smash, he's really good. He has the dash, things that he can, you know, get his pressure going. Especially in heat, that's when he starts to come alive more and make your opponent scared to do stuff. But his heat smash, very risky. 20 frames, it can get stuffed. If you're being predictable, if you're trying to mash it out on somebody, you can die for trying to do it. So to give you guys a quick summary, I just wanted to give you my favorite moves with Lee Chao Lun. First, we got 1+2. +2 on block, +6 on hit. If you go on the Hitman, you get 1-1-1. It's a good check to stop people from pressing buttons. The only way that they can probably beat this is if they do a move that'll crush a high, if they duck, etc. Right? Great move to throw off people's timing, especially if you try to hesitate, you try to dash up, throw off their timing, mix it up with different moves. It'll definitely stop your opponent from stepping, mixing it up with running 3-4, like I said earlier. Great move, one of my favorites. Then we got back 3-3. Back 3-3 is the new natural hit move. In T7, it didn't naturally hit. So this is really good, especially when you go into Hitman, you get +4. They have to respect this move on hit. Sometimes I like to stack, you know, 3, you know, 2, 3, depending on if they're blocking their ankles or not. You can abuse people with this, and they got to respect it. Then we got 4-4-3. Great mid-screen check move. Love using this move to stop people at the wall. They try to press a button. They try to step. Be careful, it's linear though. So at a mid-screen distance, if you're not deep dashing in to do it, or if you're not trying to catch your opponent's timing or their approach or they're pressing buttons, you can get stepped and launched for it. So just be careful and be wary about how you're using this move. Can't abuse it, especially at the higher level. It obviously is a heat engager. In heat, you get a full combo. You know what I mean? It's probably my favorite move to try to throw out in heat, to try to catch people stepping. It'll clip people. I'll tell you so many times that I'm in tournament or in a ranked match or just in a match in general, people will get clipped by this move and you get a full combo for it. Next, we got back 4. Great spacing tool. Great move to try to check people. Especially the approach. You get a counter hit launcher. They try to approach and they get hit by it. Best keep out tool in the game, in my opinion. +7 on hit. +8 if you go on the Hitman. They got to respect anything that you do after. You know, good 1+2 to check. You know, Hitman 2, etc. If they try to jab or, you know, do any highs or do something slow, they will get hit by it. It gives you enough space too to check. Next, we got down 3. And down 3 in the Hitman. Down 3, I like to throw off people's timing with down 3. You know, double up on it. You know, depending on the timing, be awkward with your timing. It's a counter hit launcher. So you get, you know what I mean? You get to get a combo off of it. It crushes highs. It tracks when you're up close, depending on what side they step. If they step right, it's linear. You know what I mean? So they can walk it. So just be careful on how you're throwing this out. It's launch if they block it. You know what I mean? So just be careful. But this is definitely a good move I love to throw out. It's one of my favorite. It's kind of like my go-to low. I obviously mix up like down back 3, down back 3+4, you know, slide, etc. But down 3 is one of my favorites. Next, we got Magic 4. Just frame, 11 frame heat engager, like I said earlier. It wall splats. It's amazing to catch people's timing. They try to duck. Sometimes they get clipped by the last hit. You know, counter hit launcher. You can convert off it if you got the execution. You could also do 4-3-4 and it'll give you the tail flip. But I like to try to go for the hard stuff because I'm a lead player and I try to convert off of the hard stuff, right? It just depends on what distance, but you can definitely convert off of this move. Next, we have slide. Slide is amazing to open up the while standing mix-ups. It's amazing on hit. Conditioning your opponent to duck. You can double up on this too. You just got to be careful with steppers because like you see, they can step it. You can go for the while standing mix afterwards. You know, stop people from stepping depending on what way they're stepping, etc. Great move to open up people and make them want to duck. You can mix this up with down forward 4 out of full crouch. Amazing in the neutral. Next, we have forward 4-1. If you just frame it on block, it's +5, which basically, if people do block this and try to mash any highs or mid or anything, they'll get counter hit by down 3. You could step it, but that's why you mix it up with forward 4-3. You can't step that. Great in heat because the just frames are guaranteed. Just got to be careful because the second hit is a high and it can be stepped. Next, we got 4-4-4, high crushing high. Really good at evading stuff. Sometimes it just even evades mids. Amazing in the neutral, amazing after doing certain moves like down forward 1, etc. It is linear and it can be stepped to Lee's weak side, but it's a natural hit launcher. So if you got the execution, you can pick up on it and get the combo. Next, we got down forward 1. One of my favorite, step into Lee's weak side. This is probably one of my favorite to check people. It's +5 on hit. You can keep pressure going. People got to respect this. It's a good just mid poke. You can step after. The rule of thumb is if you're -5 to -6, you can step. I don't know how it is in T8. We'll have to experiment if that threshold is challenged. But to my knowledge, down forward 1 is great for checking and great to try to set up a sidestep, etc. Next, we got my favorite whiff punishing move, Acid Storm. If they don't duck the last hit, it's -9, so it's safe, but the last hit is a high and you can get launched for it, so just be careful. If you don't finish the string as well, let's say if you fuck up the timing or if you misjudge the distance, you can get launched if you don't finish it. Just be careful. Sometimes people just look at it and aren't able to punish it in time, so just be careful. But it's literally his best whiff punishing tool. I love throwing this move out. Other than if, depending on the distance, I might hop kick, I might down forward 2, but forward 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, definitely one of the best whiff punishing tools in his kit. Next, we have running 3-4. Running 3-4 is really good when you stack it up on top of each other. If they block it, they got to hold plus frames. If you run up and do 1+2 to catch them stepping is plus frames. I love to use both these moves and synergize both of them just because, either way you get advantage if they block 1+2 into Hitman or if they block running 3-4 into Hitman or just in general, right? You want to keep that pressure going. You want to keep yourself safe. You just can't get too predictable with it because it is linear. They could walk it to the left. You can die for it. They can launch you, get to your back. Don't be predictable with this move. But just know that this is a really good pressure tool, really good approach tool. It's good for breaking the floor and spiking them so that way you can get combo extenders, etc. Last but not least, we also have full crouch down forward 4. I like to mix this move up with slide. I like to mix the move up with the while standing moves, especially if you're going to Hitman after certain moves too. You can just go right into it. It's good to catch your opponent off guard. It's good to catch their timing. It's a counter hit. You get a follow up after. You can get blazing kick after if you're fast enough. You do get follow ups. Get the follow ups after. Great move. Good damage. Catch your opponent. Make them scared to, get hit by the low. They block low. Get the wild standing mix up. Honorable mention, I would say, is just forward 2, his new approach tool as well. It's linear as well to my knowledge, but if you just frame the move, it's plus. It's a high, so they can duck. You can go into misstep and go for mix-ups. So as promised, I told you guys I was going to give you a method to help lab, how to go against matchups, how to figure out your own character, etc. The main thing you want to do is what I got here. This is more for beginners and intermediate that's trying to get into frame data, understanding what moves track to what, etc. What I can go under, evasiveness, etc. Right? So first you want to start off by kind of setting the CPU to do stuff, or just trying to experiment with them blocking and them sidewalking or sidestepping, right? Because sometimes sidestep will beat options and sometimes it won't, and sidewalk will, right? So just something basic to kind of understand, let's say you're labbing Azucena or Victor, for instance, and you don't know which way, his down 2 or his down forward 1 tracks, right? You just want to kind of get an idea. So for Lee, right, you see here, his standing 3 won't track to his right, but his magic 4s will, or his down forward 4 will. You know what I mean? So this is kind of a method to kind of to give you more insight on, okay, I see my opponent is stepping downward too much. This is the move that I need to be going for. My opponent is stepping upward too much. This is the move that I need to be going for. This is what's going to help you open up more opportunities for you, especially when you're playing lead, because it's all about gathering information, like I said prior. You know, you want to know what side they're stepping to. You want to know what they like to do. You want to see the patterns on what they like to go for. You want to make sure you get your punishment proper, because some characters like Ling or Raven or, you know, Fang, characters that have really low hitting moves, sometimes you can't even float them with while standing 2-3. It's happened to me before. While standing 1 sometimes whiffs. There's moves that will whiff. So this is just a quick tip to kind of understand how to lab certain situations with stepping, understanding what characters have a strong side, what side it is, you know, blocking, etc. A way to understand what moves crush. You can always set the CPU to block and then punish. And once you do that, you can set something. So like, this is kind of a way to see, like, just give you a quick example with, like, right? This is a quick example with 4-4-4, right? I set it to block, right? 4-4-4. Right? You see? See, I can't do it after. But I can't do that after. I can't do that after. You know what I mean? Like, this is just to give you more of an example of, like, what can I do and what can I do? What can I not do when the opponent is mashing? You see, I can't interrupt that, right? But if I do this, it'll trade. If I do that, do down 3, I get a counter hit, you know? So this is just a quick method for, you know, beginner to intermediate that are trying to figure out, like, yo, what do I do to set up these opportunities for myself, you know? But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for subbing. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching. I got more content coming. I just was in a tournament last night that I got 3rd in, so I want to do some commentary and tournament review on that. Give you guys more insight on my process and what I think about when I'm in match. If you are new here, drop a sub, leave a like, leave a comment. It helps the algorithm get that guide out there to all the league players or anybody that just wants to look at high-level gameplay to get better and get some tips. I would highly appreciate it. I got more high-level sets coming as well. But yeah, yo, I'll catch up with you guys another time. Later.